Okay, it's time to talk about compound intervals. That's a fancy way to say intervals bigger than an octave. Um, what we do here is, so this is a bit of terminology and a bit of like actual fact. So check it out. So here is an octave, right? What interval is that? There's two ways we could think about this. One is we could reduce it and move this top note down an octave to there. That would make it an interval of a major second, F to G. But that's not where it was. It's right there. So yes, it's kind of a major second. And yes, it has a similar feel to a major second because it's the same notes as a major second, but there's an octave in between. And that can matter. Most of the time, that can matter. So, what is it? Well, let's count up. One. Well, let's do this. Let's take it back down. Okay, if that's a second, that's a third, that's a fourth, that's a fifth, that's a sixth, that's a seventh, this is 8, this is 9. So what we actually end up on here is a ninth. A ninth is a compound interval because we can think of a ninth as an octave plus a second. Okay? Now where things can go wrong is if you think of an octave as an interval of an eighth and then an interval of a second, and you add those together, you get a tenth, which doesn't work right. Right? Let me explain that again. Let's go over here. So here's an octave, right? If this is a seventh, then this is probably an eighth, right? And if this is a second, then I add 8 plus 2 and I get a tenth, which is wrong, right? That's not the way we think about it. What we do is we actually count all the way up from the bottom note. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We end up at ninth. The reason that it doesn't work when you literally add 8 plus 2 is that in that case, you're counting the octave twice. This note gets counted twice. So what you really do is you count, okay, so this is our 7, and then you count, this is 8, but it is also 1. And that's 2. So we really count 7 plus 2 because we can't count the octave twice in the same interval. If that's confusing, never mind. Just remember this is the interval of a ninth. It's an octave plus a second. So the ninth is a very cool sound. Let's hear. I mean, it has a similar sound as a second, but it's a little bit different. Right? It's just kind of a fun sound. Let's do another compound interval here. Let's do the interval of a tenth. Now this one is an octave plus a third. And this is one of my all-time favorite intervals. It's right there. So an octave would be to here, and then we add a third on top of that. That is the interval of a tenth. Now I love this sound. Let me just play it for you first, and then I'll show you why I love it. Okay, so here it is. Right? It's fine. But check this out. I love this played in the piano really low. Yeah, I'm going to transpose this like way low. Okay, here's 3 octaves down from where I was. Let me just do that as a whole note. Okay. So now I did the same thing with just a whole note. Now listen to this. It's just a beautiful sound to me. I just can't get over that. I've written so many pieces where I just end with this big tenth, interval of a tenth. It's just a major third with an octave in between, right? It's a beautiful interval. Okay, I'm going to stop gushing about my love for the tenth, and let's talk about an 11th. So 11th is an octave plus a fourth, Sounds like that. Now, I should say about some of these intervals, major and minor still apply. We can have a major 10th and a minor 10th because it's got a major third in it. We can have a major ninth and a minor ninth because it's a second, right, is the added interval. We can't have a major or minor octave, but a ninth or a 10th we can. An 11th is an octave and a fourth. And remember, our interval for a fourth, if we're staying in key, our interval for a fourth is a perfect fourth. So we don't have major or minor 11ths, nor do we have major and a minor 12ths, which are an octave and a fifth. Oops. So here's a 12th, octave, and a fifth. So let's hear 11ths and 12ths. So this is an 11th, this is a 12th. Remember, these are perfect intervals. Okay, so a ninth is an octave plus a second, and that can be major or minor. A 10th is an octave and a third, and that can be major or minor. An 11th is an octave and a fourth, and that can't be major or minor. That can be perfect. A 12th is an octave and a fifth, and that is a perfect interval as well. Now, let's jump backwards and talk about this major minor perfect thing one more time. I know we've spent a good amount of time on this in an earlier class, but I want to do a quick review of that because it just came up again. And if you're scratching your head, let's touch base on the major minor perfect thing because we're about to make it a bit more complicated by the end of this section. So let's make sure we're all on the same page with the major minor perfect. Cool? Let's do that next.